A few months ago, I did a video on this drill here. It's a Bauer right angle drill. And I said I was going to use it until it died. It hasn't died yet. It is starting to have a few little problems, but I think I'm ready to give you the review. I'd like to start off the video by telling you the size of the bowls that I sanded with this drill. So I sanded 17 cut rim bowls that were between 3 and 4.5 inches by 10 to 12 inches. I sanded a cut rim bowl that was 5 1/4 by 15. That was one. I sanded 2 platters that were between 1.5 to 1 3/4 by 13 1/4 to 13 1/2. A natural edge bowl that was 4 by 11. So that was one of those. And then 6 natural edge bowls that were between 4 and 6 inches tall by 13 to 15 inches wide. And then 1 natural edge bowl that was 8.5 by 16. That particular bowl was extra sanding. It was very punky wood. I soaked it in wood hardener, And when I was sanding it, it was causing the sandpaper to clog a lot. So a lot of extra sanding was needed on that particular bowl. So that gives you an idea of how much this has been used. And so I'll kind of show you now what I liked and didn't like, and then point out what problems it is starting to have. So my biggest complaint with the Bauer right angle drill, other than the fact that it's starting to go, basically when I hit the switch, after switching forward to reverse, and I don't know if it's because, I'm not sure if it's the brushes, the motor brushes, or if it's the switch itself, but I've had to kind of, whack it, but for now it's still working. My biggest complaint would be the size of this key and the smaller chuck. So it's a Chinese chuck. This is a Milwaukee. So Milwaukee key, Bauer key. This is this is too small in my opinion. This portion right here, and this is too small. Obviously, the Jacob's chuck that comes with the Milwaukee is just a bigger key overall, but you'll see bigger and then bigger. So when you're grabbing hold of that and tightening it down, and it's just less prone to slipping. So it fits nicer. I've noticed with this, there's a good bit of play right here. And the Jacob's chuck, not so much. So that's my number one complaint. And then, not being keyless. And I know in general, the keyless chucks on the right angle drills aren't quite as friendly to use. I've used them before, it's been a while, but it seems like a lot of the cordless drills have keyless chucks, whereas the corded drills have key chucks. And there's a lot, I don't think Milwaukee's even making this anymore. And the Makita's like $300, so it's a little bit crazy on the price. So for a lot of people, it probably just doesn't make sense to use these right angle drills. This drill here, this Bosch, I found it online for $90, and I found a DeWalt comparable drill for $70. So a lot less money for your standard drill. And then as far as changing pads, if you're changing pads a lot, super fast. Manufacturers in general probably going to tell you not to use the finger, not to do this, not to change your bits or whatever under power. But I don't think most people obey that. But have that on your radar. You could get hurt with these. you got to unplug them when you change them. If you accidentally hit that trigger with that key in there, and I know this, something's going to hurt. So unplug them. And if you're not going to unplug it, take extra care because it's easy to hit that trigger. You know, a right angle drill does make sanding a little easier at times, but if you get used to, you know, your standard drill, it's really not that bad. I found the outside of a natural edge bowl is a lot more friendly. You know, because I'm sanding natural edge bowls with the lathe still, it is not running, and that just it just made life a little easier. So if you're just getting started, I'm just going to recommend getting a drill like this. Buy a name brand, trusted name brand. You know, at this point, 28 bowls in, I'm about $1.50 per bowl if it were dead right now. You know, so hopefully it keeps running. I'm gonna see if I can get it to replicate the problem it's starting to have. Let's plug it in real quick. Okay, it's not doing it right now, but trust me, you know, the last few bowls it's been doing it to where, you know, I switched the switch, and it could just be dust. I did blow out the you know, the drill to maybe help with you know, if it was a dust. So that could be the problem, because, you know, with sanding you do have a lot of dust. I do want to add one more thing. With a right angle drill, and what makes this more friendly, probably what a lot of people mistake they make is, I don't know if you heard that, but that's much higher RPMs. This drill has 2,600 RPMs. Now it's a variable speed switch, which you definitely want, but running at 2,600 RPMs is too high. And this is a RPM about half that at 1,300. So what it does is, by sanding at high RPMs, you're going to kill your sandpaper faster. So heat is the enemy of your sandpaper. So especially if you're new, it might make it easier. So changing the pads on this drill. So if you were to switch from one pad to another, is a bit of a pain in the neck with the Bauer, because you have to pull out this key. It's this dinky little key, and then, you know, so when you want to tighten it down, it's wanting to really dig in your hand. So that's where I'm saying a much more substantial key would have been friendly. But so if you're changing pads a lot, and I change pads often enough, it's nicer to have that keyless chuck. So something I prefer. And, you know, I'm not saying this did a lot better than I thought it would, but you know, 28 bowls where it's starting to have problems, that's probably not as good as I would like. And, you know, the piece of crap chuck that comes with it, I don't like that. So what, you know, how much would it have cost them to put a Jacobs chuck on there? But it is what it is, I guess. Oh, and I add one more thing. This was a professional turner, Mike Mahoney, mentioned once that he thought that right angle drills just don't last as long as, you know, a standard drill. So he used just standard drills. And I believe I've had the same experience. You know, this Milwaukee's had some problems, and I've never used it that much. You know, so that it too has a temperamental switch. So maybe that's a little bit of the problem with right angle drills. With that said, I do know that Glenn Lucas uses a right angle drill, uses a Makita on the outside. So, you know, he's buying the $300 drill, And, you know, maybe it's just built better. And, you know, I don't know the makeup of these drills, but, you know, take that for you what you want. But, you know, this drill did okay. I don't think great. You know, when you break it out and say $1.50 per bowl, it's not that bad. But, you know, I think I'd like to see better than that. Obviously, if you pay twice as much and it only gets you twice as many bowls, it's not, there's no difference. So, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I hope to catch you on the next one.